Hey everyone, Reverend William Ashton here, being joined by my lovely wife, Reverend Missy Ashton.
Hello.
Wow, I just don't even know what to say sometimes, which is probably why I have not been on saying many things, to be honest.
Yeah.
We just wanted to make a quick video for y'all, just to let you know where we're at as two polytheist pastors for a very small church in northern Colorado. Just where we're at as community leaders, what we're seeing, some of our fears, some of what we're thinking about. You can certainly read more about it. Our president made a statement on Facebook, our church president.
Mm-hmm.
ADF National has still yet to make any statements. I would not hold your breath or put yourself in any sort of physical, mental, or otherwise danger waiting for a statement to come out regarding Black Lives Matter. I don't have anything else to say about that. However, here at Mountain Ancestors Groves, Black lives do matter.
And we fully support the movement.
100%. We were asked, as it were, more like called out in a very direct way by...
and rightly so, I think.
Sure.
Rightly so. It's been a time of deep listening for us. A lot of people who have been going unheard for decades are speaking right now, and we've been watching their videos, the news coverage, YouTube videos from folks, videos that are shared on YouTube from folks who are just out in the middle of all of these protests to take in their story so that we can be part of the solution and not putting our white voices on top of it.
Right.
And we certainly did not mean for that to be seen as an inaction on our part. And so for that, we do apologize.
It's very difficult, as many folks who are trying to be white allies know, to leave the right amount of space for folks, but also to contribute specifically to our communities when it's time to contribute. And that time is upon us. Mm-hmm. We were asked to say more, we were asked to be seen more, and we were asked to lead more. So that's why we're here doing that.
Yeah. We can't speak to what it's like to be a person of color in the United States, and we're certainly not going to try.
Certainly not.
We can speak about what it means to be a pagan in this time, and William and I were discussing this earlier, and one of the things that came to mind about how we can reframe this is to have a discussion about virtues. Virtue is an active part of ethics. It's what you do. It requires you to be doing things, not just reading stuff or watching things. And so now I thought would be a good time. We thought it'd be a good time for us to discuss some of our virtues and how they apply to what we can do right now to be part of the solution for systemic change.
And finally, we want to bring up a couple of virtues that have appeared in the ancient world, but somehow have forgot to make the cut into a lot of modern pagan practices.
Yeah.
So let's start with courage. It doesn't matter what it is. Courage, the root of courage comes from the same word that corazón, heart, comes from. Courage takes heart. Courage takes spirit, as opposed to bravery, which is bravado, which is more of an ego-based response. So we have to find that heart place when we enter with courage. It's very difficult to find that heart place when there's so much wrong in the world. Mm-hmm. It really is. We get it. Even finding the courage to come on and be live in front of everyone.
Y'all scare the crap out of us, just so you know.
Talking to our little iPad, as it were. But courage is one of those virtues that we can continually circle back around within ourselves to look at and to find where that's important to us. Next, wisdom. Speak to wisdom.
Why do you look at me?
Of the two of us, you're probably the wise one.
So wisdom is a virtue that often is mixed and used synonymously with knowledge, which is which isn't correct. Wisdom is active. Wisdom is something we should always be seeking. You have to continually learn and gain knowledge so that you can make better choices. Making wise choices is about being informed. And part of wisdom right now is reading and being exposed and not hiding from the things that are out there, which has led a lot of us to be complacent as white allies. You know,
Right.
we don't want to offend people, and we don't want to overstep our boundaries, and so we don't do anything at all.
Right.
And that's not the wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when you should at least try to step in and speak up and help create space for other people's voices to be heard.
Right. You know, there's a ton of, so in our practice, we have 9 cardinal virtues that we try to live by. When we were talking about just the situation, there's really 7 of them that show up. We talked about courage and wisdom. Perseverance is another. Sticking with it. Yes, this is hard work. This is hard to get up and do these things, like talk to cameras with no one in a congregation. And yet we carry on. This is what we have to do. This is not a time for surrender. This is not a time for giving up. This is a time to persevere, to keep getting up, to get up at least one more time than you get knocked down. That's the most important. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, as long as when you tally those numbers up, that final number has one more got up than knocked down. You know, this speaks to our integrity as people, another virtue. Some people equate integrity with honor. You could do that, but honor really breaks down into 3 things. Obligation, where your obligations lie. Justice, which we'll talk about later.
We'll get to that.
And courage. It'll circle back around again to courage. To have the wherewithal to do the right thing, no matter the personal cost. Right. That's a big piece of courage. Vision, another of our virtues. To be able to see the effects that our actions and our non-actions have on the world around us.
Right. And vision means not falling into the I don't see color or all lives matter framework that really clouds your ability to see what other people are experiencing and going through. So true vision is being able to see all of those details, even the ones that you're afraid of and the ones that make you angry and the ones that hurt you. Those ones you should pay attention to more, because that gut feeling you have means something is not wrong.
Right.
Or something's not right, something's wrong, and you need to address it.
Finally, among the classical 9 that we have for, well, not the classical, but the traditional 9 that we have for us in ADF practice, hospitality comes to mind for sure for me. In our hospitality practice, we pretty much privilege that virtue over all others.
Yeah, we do.
How we interact with the world is based on this idea of reciprocity and balance and the sharing of things. This idea of hospitality. Hospitality, while you're offering your finest, you don't want to put yourself out. That's idiot hospitality.
You shouldn't give so much that you hurt yourself.
Right. So this is like self-care. This is like turning that hospitality within. But it's also remembering that if we're blessed with an abundance of something, it's the people who are blessed with abundance who are, if they are part of a society and not standalone little characters on islands, if they're a part of society, then it's their obligation to be the givers, because they have the most. And that's not something that our culture has taught. We see the severe imbalance of hospitality. We see people surrendering it all the time. We see courage bastardized into bravado. We see wisdom that's barely knowledge. What is knowledge nowadays with so much false information in the world? Where to turn, what to go? This is a confusing time.
So that being said, one of our virtues is moderation. And you'll hear people say that moderation in all things, including moderation. And I think this is one of the places where we're at right now, is that we have tried talking and we're not heard. We've tried shouting and we weren't heard. There was yelling and it wasn't heard. There has been screaming and it wasn't heard. There's been protesting that wasn't heard. And now we are at the point of rebellion because all the other times that we've tried for decades has not been heard and acted upon.
Right.
And that's where we're at. We are at the point where we are done practicing idiot moderation, and we want to see actual justice and social change happen because of the systemic racism that fuels our country.
That's exactly right. It's a place to start with the virtues. But like we talked about earlier, there's some virtues that are just left out, that did not make the cut in our particular thing, that our church, our individual church,
we use them.
that we've decided to adopt those and to try to find a practice around those. Two of those, one is compassion, and the other virtue is justice, which if you go back to the classical sources, it was one of the original four main core virtues. And yet it didn't make the cut for some strange reason. Compassion, when we talk about compassion, one of my favorite stories about compassion is the story about the person walking along the beach. I'm sure you've heard it in some way, shape, or form. But it's a person walking along the beach and they come across someone who's in the water drowning. And they fall to their knees and they look out into the water and watch the person drown and they just weep. Horrible pain. That's sympathy, not compassion. So they continue the journey. Person's walking on the beach. They see someone drowning. And this time they swim out to them and embrace them and drown with them. That's sympathy. The first one was empathy. Compassion, the person's walking along the beach, sees someone drowning, scrounges up some dead wood and some rope that they find, throws it out to them so that they can save themselves, and that person continues on their journey. Compassion, com and passio, it literally means to suffer with. It's the ability to feel someone else's suffering without having to be put in that position of suffering yourself, right?
Yep.
That's what compassion is. If we can't look at George Floyd of blessed memory, my God, if we can't look at this man with a knee on his neck and not feel that we would not want to be there and that we would want to, why would we not want to change the system that allows knees to be on necks with no recompense, that allows such injustice to happen when we're trying to talk about compassion? If we're not feeling these things, then we're out of touch with our feel engine.
Right.
We're out of touch with our ability to be compassionate.
You should be sad, and you should be outraged, and you should be angry. All of those things are proper responses from a compassionate place as you're feeling with the suffering that led to the unnecessary death of a black man. It's unnecessary.
Yet another
black man.
Yet another
Yeah,
unnecessary
you should be
death.
mad. You should be feeling things. This should hurt. It should hurt, and it should be hard. And there should be fear that we have to face. And that's where our courage comes in. Without fear, there is no ability for us to find our courage and to be strong in that.
So through all of those virtues that we're talking about, really the ultimate goal in this particular situation is the virtue of justice.
Yes.
And we need all of those other virtues to come into play in harmony so that we can actually achieve justice, so that we can have that balance, so that we can take the pans of the scale, the one that's just overburdened and the one that's virtually empty, and try to balance those things out. Yes. And yes, it's going to take time, and yes, it's going to be traumatic, and yes, there's going to be a ton of pushback.
Yep.
And yet, this is our work in this time.
And there are going to be times where we make mistakes. And as Rev William has said many times, we all make mistakes. We all make ruptures. It's what you do to repair it that shows the true character of who you are and the work you're trying to do. Not doing anything, being scared into inaction because you're afraid you're going to fail and offend somebody, we need to let that go. That is idiot moderation. That is what is keeping all of this systemic work in place. We need to break out of that cycle, and part of that is us facing that fear, finding our courage, and moving forward to make the changes that we need. Systemic changes are big. This means that we need to get out to vote. We need to make voices be heard. We need to share stories that people are trying to get out there so that we all understand where these other folks are coming from. again, we don't know what it's like to be a black person in America. We don't know what it's like to be any person of color in our country. I can imagine that it's probably horrifying watching all of this. And that doesn't give us a buy to not do anything right now.
Right. This is our time to act.
Yeah.
We have persevered so far to get to this moment in time. We are the people that we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
We're already here. We've already got the tools that are at our disposal. To sit around and wish that things were different is not to embrace the fate that we have right now. Our fate is what's in our hands right now. The injustice that's in our hands. The tools that we have are in our hands. This is what we have. To sit around and wish it were different is to waste your imagination power.
And I don't want this to be seen as us telling you to go out and protest. That is a pretty ableist statement, and those of you who can and who feel the drive to do that, please go and do that.
We need you.
Having more voices to make that chorus louder is important. And it's not safe for everyone to protest. Some people have physical ability issues. Some people have emotional or psychological ability issues.
Not to mention right now, in the middle of a pandemic.
We're in the middle of a pandemic. Some people have health issues that would not make it safe for them to congregate in large spaces, especially with so many folks without masks on. So connect with local organizations, do some quick searches to see who around you is already doing that work, and join your work to theirs. We need letter writers. We need people who make phone calls. We need monetary donations if you are able. There's so much work that needs done. Don't get lost in the, I'm not protesting, so I'm not helping.
Right.
Find other ways to help. There's lots of other ways to help.
All right, y'all. With that, just please join us in a quick prayer, if you would. Kindreds all, gods above who watch over all of us, all of your children of myriad color, ancestors below who support us, who have shown us the way, of not to do things as well. And nature spirits all around in the different myriad places of land that we have that inspire us and talk to us. We ask that you cast your blessings onto us as we move forward in this horrifically difficult work. We ask that you continue to inspire us and guide us as we move toward a just society. So say we all.
We also call to the Earth Mother, known by many names, known here where we stand as Colorado, who upholds us and gives us strength, who helps us to stand on firm, solid ground and to find our center, and from that place find our strength to move forward. Earth Mother, we thank you. So say we all.
So say we all. All right, y'all. Thanks for putting up with this. I don't even know how long this has been.
I don't know.
Thank you for listening. If there's anything that we could do, if there's something that we could do better, if there's something that you want us to ramble about, if there's a place you want us to be, please let us know.
Let us know.
We hear you, we see you, and we're here to help. So I'm going to duck out and stop the camera. Reverend Missy's going to wave goodbye.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.